Hello and welcome to AARP Wyoming's Video Voter Guide Series for 2024. I'm Tom Laycock with AARP Wyoming, and today we're joined by Tom Walters, who's running for the Wyoming Legislature in House District 38, located in Natrona County. AARP has a proud 40-year history of nonpartisan voter engagement and does not endorse or oppose candidates, nor does AARP make contributions to political campaigns or candidates at any level. Instead, we ask questions so our members understand where the candidates stand on important issues and can make their own decisions on Election Day. Today, we'll give Mr. Walters 3 questions, allowing for a 1-minute and 30-second response to each. Then we'll give him 2 minutes to make his final pitch to the voters of House District 30. So, Mr. Walters, our first question is this. Over the last 2 years, the Wyoming Legislature has made providing property tax relief for its citizens a priority. In your view, what's the most effective way to provide relief while balancing revenue needs for our schools, counties, and other entities that rely on property tax to maintain sustainable funding?
Good morning, Tom. Thank you for the question. Thank you for the opportunity to visit with your listeners today. I think the legislature in the 2024 session made great strides in providing property tax stability and relief to the citizens of Wyoming, passing 4 different pieces of legislation, allowing for different types of property tax relief for different citizens within the state of Wyoming. The biggest one being a 4% cap on your increases in property taxes going forward. So I think the next step needs to be patience. If we do too much too quickly, we may end up in a situation where we're needing to increase the property taxes, increase sales taxes, or potentially even discuss a personal income tax, none of which are good for the state of Wyoming or its people. So again, I think we need to have patience, let the actions that were taken in the 2024 legislative session have time to play out, see how they're impacting the citizens, see how they're impacting the counties, the local governments, the cities, as well as the school system before we take too much additional action. So again, I think we're in a good position. Wyoming has the lowest taxes in the United States. We're next to the lowest, and we receive excellent benefits for the taxes we pay here in the state of Wyoming. So thank you for the question. And that would be the response I would have is patience, and let's see how things play out from the actions taken in 2024.
Okay, well, thank you. Our second question today. Wyoming's population of those aged 60 and over grew by 47% from 2010 to 2020, while the state's entire population grew just 2%. We know 64% of all nursing home beds in Wyoming are paid for right now by the state Medicaid program. What do you see as the greatest barrier to helping our older adults in their age in their homes and communities? And what solutions would you provide?
I think the greatest barrier that I see today is really access and availability. In our small rural communities, the availability of care is very limited, unfortunately. And we see that all of the time. So how can we address it is the next piece of that question. And I think Wyoming is on the right track and needs to continue with the actions we're taking in providing the scholarships we provide for nursing students, for medical students who attend both nursing schools here in the state of Wyoming, as well as out of the state of Wyoming, to encourage them to come back to the state and practice. Recruiting from out of state is always good, but getting those folks to stay can be challenging at times. And so I think we need to continue our scholarship programs. I think our community colleges are the next piece that we need to enhance what we're providing at the community colleges and the opportunities to students at the community colleges. And additionally, then it comes down to our K-12 education. And really in those last few years of high school, explaining to high school students what a great career nursing and the medical field can be. Because really we need to generate more nurses, more nursing type people, more care people, to have that availability, to keep those folks in their home, and really, more importantly, even in their communities. Because if they can live in a home within their community, that's second to being able to live in their home, actually. So I think those are the things we need to do, is continue to bolster what we do for our students.
Our third and final question for today. Emergency medical services are not considered an essential service in Wyoming, and in some areas, ambulances do not have a sustainable funding source. Over the last 10 years, Wyoming has seen 16 emergency medical service providers in the state fold or consolidate with another service. What solution would you offer for ensuring access to ambulance services?
This is an issue that I still believe needs to remain as a local control issue. The locals can come to the state, and maybe we can set up some sort of a state funding stream to help those locals. But again, I believe it needs to be maintained as a local control issue. It is imperative that we have vital services throughout the state. As we all know, we have Interstate 80 running through the southern tier of the state that receives a heavy amount of out-of-state traffic. And placing that burden on those locals is a huge burden to those locals. And that's why I say possibly we could consider and have the discussion about what a 1 mil statewide tax would look like that would then be distributed equally or through some sort of formula to make sure that those services can be provided on a statewide basis, funded on a statewide basis as well. So I think we need to have those discussions, but those discussions need to be two-way streets with the local governments to understand how they're spending their current revenues to make sure that we are not augmenting services that are already being provided by counties. It's a huge issue that will take lots of involvement from all those involved. But I think with the can-do spirit of Wyoming, we can solve it in the future.
Well, thank you so much for being a good sport and answering our 3 questions. Let's close today by offering you 2 minutes to explain to the voters why you think you're the best person to represent House District 38.
Thank you, Tom, and thank you to AARP for the opportunity to visit today. I am a lifelong Wyoming resident. Having grown up in Casper, Wyoming, I've spent the last 25 years managing a cattle ranch outside of Wyoming. My family comes from the oil and gas industry, as well as the hospitality industry and hotels. So I have a well-rounded background and have spent the last 12 years in the Wyoming legislature representing House District 38 to the best of my abilities. I've helped to move Wyoming forward while in tight times been able to make logical budget reductions. I look forward to continuing that opportunity. This lifetime of background is what has made me a great candidate as well as a well-rounded legislator in the Wyoming legislature. I ask for your vote on August 20th in House District 38. Thank you for your time today.
And thank you for your time, Mr. Walters, and thank you to our viewers for joining us for this video voter guide. We encourage you to keep checking AARP's Wyoming Facebook page and Cowboy State Daily for more video voter guides in the days to come.